How's it going and welcome to this video. My name is IZAACMARING and thank you so much for clicking on this video. And in this video, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of debit and credit cards. And I'm so excited for this video because many people have told me debit cards are so much better than credit cards and credit cards charge too much in interest, and this is totally false because you do not get charged in interest unless you don't make the payments on time. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys the facts of the pros and cons of each cards, and hopefully by the end of this video you can tell which card is best suited for you and what will be better for your future. Hopefully you guys stay to the end, and at the end I'm going to give you guys even extra tips to go along with the pros and cons of each card, and hopefully you stay along and learn something about credit cards and debit cards. First off, I'm going to give you guys some details about a credit card. Credit cards and debit cards are very similar in the way you go and purchase items. But in the back end of things, credit cards are no way connected with your bank account unless you connect your account to pay them off at the end of the month. Credit cards come from bigger financial companies, unlike small local banks that usually don't have credit cards and they only have the option of debit cards. The way that credit cards work is you charge them up for the whole month, and at the end of the month you will pay them off in full. When you pay them off in full, there is no interest charged, and there may be even some benefits that come with using that credit card in that month. One of the biggest benefits and biggest pro that most people get a credit card for is by being able to build your credit. Using a credit card is the best way and biggest way you can build your credit. You can build your credit by paying off loans and other things, but a credit card is really just a loan that you use throughout the month for your normal day-to-day expenses, and then you pay it off in full each month. Because credit cards are a type of loan, you don't have to have that money in your hand or in an account already. The only day you really need the money is that certain due date by the end of the month, and then you'll be good for the rest of the month to not even have that cash in hand to be able to buy your items. Credit cards can also offer cashback and rewards, and who doesn't want free money and free travel? I mean, I sure do. I bet you do too. So credit cards do have cashback, and they usually range from 1% all the way up to 5% on certain categories, and depending on the card and depending on the time you're using it. Also, credit cards do have the travel points, which means you just rack up on rewards points every time you use or purchase something on the card. And depending on the card, you get a certain amount of points. Those points can be redeemed at different amounts, but in this way you can rack up all these points for travel. So when you want to go take a vacation somewhere, you can use it to buy plane tickets, or you can use it on certain ones to buy even hotel stays, and you can even get really good hotel perks and features on the certain cards you use. But that's just another addition onto why you should use a credit card. Credit cards also offer sign-up bonuses when you sign up for them on certain cards. You can get a certain money amount back once you spend a certain money amount in the first 3 months, which is pretty common. For example, if a credit card company said, if I spent $500 in the first 3 months of the card, I would get back $200. Then if I spent $500 in those first 3 months, they would give me $200 back as if I signed up with that card during that sign-up bonus period. Or with certain cards you can get rewards points for travel or anything other like that for different credit. If you sign up, you immediately sometimes can get those points and you can use them for free travel. A lot of people do this thing called credit card churning, which is where you sign up a lot of times for these sign-up bonuses so you can get a lot of free travel and a lot of free money. The issue with credit card churning is that every time you sign up for a card, your credit card gets knocked a little bit. But in the long run, if you have a good credit history, it won't affect you as much, and you don't want to open up new accounts when you are trying to get a loan for a house or something like that. Off that tangent, the next thing you can do is by using cash advances. And different cards have different limits where you can use these, and you can take cash just like any other loan, and you can take that cash and use it for their purchases other than you would be using your card for swiping. And yes, you do still have to pay this back. This isn't just free money. So just like using your credit card and swiping, you just have to pay this back by the end of the month. And this is just an extra pro because debit cards do not have this option. And usually you have to go to the bank to get a loan or a line of credit like this. And it is way easier when you use the credit cards. So let's get into a little more of the cons of credit cards and why sometimes they might have some issues or why people do not like them. To even get certain credit cards, you have to have good credit. And this might be confusing to you. Well, I'll explain it a little bit. Sometimes so cards have different higher credit limits because they offer better services and they offer better rewards. These credit card companies don't want to give you really good card and really high limits if you do not have good credit history. If you do have credit history, you are no problem. You can get by and get these cards. If you do not have credit history at all, you may not even be able to sign up or get accepted to even the smaller, simpler credit cards. What I would have you do is by signing up with a secured credit card first and build your credit up a little bit. And sometimes credit card companies will let you know when you are ready and available to get the higher credit cards where it's not a secured credit card anymore, and they will have higher features and cashback and bonuses depending on the card you will get. For some people, it's really easy for them to get into high interest debt with credit cards because they just keep charging it up and they just use it as a really high interest loan and they do not pay it off at the end of the month. They keep the recurring balance and it just ends up being worse because all that interest adds up very quickly because it's really high interest, and it can range from like 10% all the way up to like 27-30% interest, and getting to that interest rates, those are really bad and you really shouldn't charge up your card. So this is something that's very avoidable, but people really think that it's an issue and they don't really want to get into credit cards because they don't want to get into high interest debt. Certain cards may have yearly fees depending on their perks and cashbacks and whatever they bring you in return. Now this isn't really much of an issue because you can get free cards and there's plenty of good free cards out there. Some people look at that you might have to pay a yearly fee, which you really don't have to do unless you want the higher perks. Another big con I get from other people that use debit cards over credit cards is that they really don't want to have another payment by the end of the month added onto their car payment and their house payment, and they don't really want to worry about all those payments at the end of the month. But some simple way you can do this is just attach a bank account into it, and you can pay your credit card off online very fast, simply, just by connecting your bank account to your credit card company, and it's just way easier. This is just something people like try to worry about, but it really cannot be really that big of an issue if you just get more in return for your cash back and building your credit. And some people don't even worry about having to pay this because it really isn't that hard. Now onto the debit card. I'm going to give you guys the pros and the cons on this. Starting off with the pros, you already have the money in your account before you buy something. How debit cards work are you have the card attached to your checking account, and any money in the checking account you can use on a card and swipe it just like a credit card and buy things online just like your credit card. The way it's different from a credit card is you're not really borrowing money for the whole month. You have to have that money into your account already, and it just simply takes that money from your account and puts it wherever you purchased that item. So relating back to making payments previously, like I just said, when you have a debit card, you don't have to worry about making payments every month. That's a lot of debit card users see, and they really don't want to have to use payments like I talked about. So this is just another big pro that they like to have. One big pro that you don't have with credit cards is there is no limit. It's all based on how much money you have in that account. So if you have a limit of $10,000 on a credit card, that's as much as you can spend on that, and you can't go really much over that. If you have a $10,000 limit on your credit card, that's all you can pay in that 1 month period on that credit card. So if you have a debit card, as much money as you have in your account, so you can have like $30,000 into your account and you can just swipe that card until the $30,000 is gone. And of course, not a lot of people spend that much in a month anyway, so it's really not that much to worry about. But that's just another perk to think about when you have a debit card over a credit card, is that it does not have any limits. When you have a debit card, it sometimes forces you to keep track of your money and know how much you have in your account balance. Because if you do not keep track of your money, you may have overdraft fees. So just having a debit card and using your debit card kind of helps you keep track of how much you have in your checking account, and you might want to open up an online banking system so you can check it directly from your mobile app, and that way you know that you won't overdraft on your debit card. One of the biggest cons related to a debit card versus credit card is that it doesn't build credit at all. And when you don't build credit, you can't get really good loans and things like that come with, having good credit. That's just the main big thing with debit cards, is that credit cards do build credit and debit cards don't build credit. And another big con is that you can suffer from overdraft fees. So if you have only $300 in your account and you spend over $300 on an item or multiple items and you don't get paid until the next week, you're going to get charged an overdraft fee for pulling more money out of your account than you have. And on certain banks, you may not even be able to charge your card without having money in your account, but most banks, you can still have charged your account, but they'll just charge you an overdraft fee, which can add up even on top of you just having a negative balance in your account. And this can be added up to be really bad because you won't have the money until the next week, and you won't be able to make any more purchases with that card unless you put money into that account. The next thing is that debit cards don't really have as good as cashback or bonus points and rewards programs as credit cards do. Now, banking systems have tried to get into getting their debit cards more rewards so people use their debit cards, but they will never be as good as the credit card cashback and bonus and travel perks. So when you have a debit card, you are really, kind of stuck in the way of you're not getting cash back, and you aren't going to be able to have free travel if you want it. Some people with debit cards actually have experienced that they spent more money on their debit card because they had it in their account. So having this mentality of having money into your account and thinking that all that money into your checking account is all spendable money, some people end up spending that money way more than they would if they had a credit card. Just to avoid this, you just don't have that mentality of spending all that money. Another way you can avoid this is by putting a lot of your money into a savings account and transferring your money from a savings account into your checking account when you know you did buy something. Now, hopefully those pros and cons kind of helped you out and help you to decide which cards is better for you, whatever is better for your future. But I'm going to give you guys some tips for using both of these cards and what you should do if you decide to get either of these. So for both these cards, use cards with no fees that you won't have to get charged yearly on. With credit cards, you can pay a fee just make sure when you pay that fee, you're getting something in return. But I just stick to no fees just starting out. And just by paying no fees just means that you don't have to worry about having that extra money paying for those cards and accounts to be open. Make sure to review your account's benefits and additional fees that go along with it, and just look at all of them, and just so you have that knowledge and you don't end up paying these fees if you didn't know about them. So when you open up your accounts, just make sure you know of all of the fees and review all of your accounts, and make sure you know of everything that is coming with your account. And sometimes with checking accounts, you can get an overdraft protection service, and sometimes these aren't even as good as you might think, and you want to look at what the overdraft protection even covers and if it's even worth it, or it might be just worth it to you just to even make sure you don't even overdraft and you just make sure you have the money in your account. I know this might sound very simple, but only buy what you need and you have the money for. And some people don't really do this. They just go out and buy whatever they want. But if you don't have the money for it, you should not go buy it. Make sure you have the money in your checking accounts, and make sure you'll be able to pay off your credit card in full at the end of the month. I know this sounds very simple, but some people still don't do it, and it's just something to try to get in the habit of and do. And I know I've said this numerous times, never keep money into your account after the due date because you'll get charged really high interest, and this is just something easily avoidable by just paying your account off in full. Another really big benefit by having accounts, you can sign up for alerts. So for checking accounts, you can sometimes sign up for alerts that alert you when your account is at a certain threshold. So if you have $500 left in your account and you set your limit at $500, it'll let you know that you have $500 left, so you try not to spend an overdraft onto your account. And this is something you should definitely sign up for, just so you know how much money is in your account if you are charging up on your card. It's just so to avoid any fees. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully this video brought some value and knowledge to you. And if it did, make sure you just leave a like button down below, and that would mean a lot to me. And also consider subscribing, because I'm going to be making more videos just like this one. And if you already subscribed to this channel, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, because you have subscribed to the fastest growing IZAACMARING YouTube channel in the whole platform. So thank you guys so much for watching to the end. And also, don't forget that you can use code IZAACMARING if you sign up for Yotta Savings and get your 100 free tickets in the first week you join. You can win from 10 cents all the way up to $10 million, or even a Tesla if you get the winning numbers. So make sure you do that if you're going to sign up for Yotta Savings, and I recommend that you do and put some money into there. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and take care.